Hello, my friends. This is going to be a slightly different episode today. We're not going to play any games. We haven't had like a ton of massive transfers, but I want to give you an update on my thinking around some of our loaned out players, transfers, and contracts going into next year. One of the things I'm trying to get better at as a football manager is planning ahead. So we're not finding ourselves in the summer going, oh, what do we do? So let's go have a conversation via me talking to you, but you in the comments, and see what you think. All right, my friends, welcome in. So this is an example of what I want to talk through today. Let's look at Steinman. That's why we call him Steinman. So I actually posted this. If you're not familiar, there's a community page on my channel where I've been posting questions and polls and things like that. So check it out. It's also really, really good for the algorithm if you like it and leave a comment. So that really does help the channel. I from what I understand, even more so than commenting and liking on the video. But we still want you to do that. So please do that if you're enjoying my content. But I posted a screenshot of his attributes recently and asked, where should we be playing him? Because he came in as a striker, but apparently our under 18 or B team manager also trained him up as a midfielder. And I'm like, I don't understand what we should do with this guy, because right, as a striker, finishing quite poor, and he's already 18. Like, you know, he just turned 18, but like, he's 18. Passing is all right, really good acceleration, so advanced forward, zwee, gets him going, get good pace once he gets going. You know, dribbling's okay, first touch is okay, could continue to develop, but we use a false 9. Now finishing, not as important in a false 9, so maybe that's okay. But the comments I got left me a little befuddled, because we had, I'm not going to mention everybody by name, but I'll try and go through some of these. So like, unexplained things left a comment, said midfielder as box to box with his flair and decisions and good physicals, he suits the role. But he can't finish and he can't tackle. So I think that's probably, I mean, like, he's interesting, and I think that's what makes it challenging. Andrew Wood said maybe as a deep lying forward. Okay, so put him on support or attack. You know, with the relatively, it's my reminder to do my neck exercises. With the relatively poor finishing, won't matter so much, you know, because he's dropping deeper and distributing, although you could get goals out of him. But midfield looks a better option, in which case, a Mazzala. Okay, but we don't really use a Mazzala, so is this just going to turn into a guy that we like develop to sell on? And also, so it's like, if you put him on support, his tackling is poor. If you put him on attack, his finishing isn't up there. Harry MH says inside forward maybe. Well, now I can't show you the actual, but it's like, yeah, on support, but he'd have to be, you know, picking up that side on, and we'd have to change the system because we don't really, I mean, we do sometimes use an inside forward or winger if we're really desperate. Maybe, but the finishing is poor. Ian Perky at midfield with an advanced playmaker. Because with deficiency in marking and tackling, we can't ask him to play a defensive role, and obviously lacking in finishing as well. So I kind of don't hate that idea, right? Like, he's, you know, of the attributes that get highlighted here, aside from vision, they're all like good. So it's like, okay. But then other folks said inside forward or advanced forward. Sean Gilligley said also central midfielder, Mazzala on support. Not a good enough passer to be a playmaker. Okay. Not a good enough tackler to be a box-to-box, which we talked about. And I'm not sure he has the pace that allows you to ignore his finishing in the match engine. So Mazzala. And then Rizky Mustafa also said Mazzala. So there's like several votes for Mazzala, support or attack. And I'm not sure what to do with him. I'm a little befuddled. That's not the whole reason I want to bring you here today. I want to look at the contract situations we have, because we do have some players that have buyout clauses. So my main question for you today, aside from Steinman and what the heck do we do with him, because I don't want to like ruin his potential. He's got potential. I want to utilize it for our benefit. Is, of the players that have minimum fee release clauses, are there any that we should offer contracts to, even if their contract's not up in the next 18 months, to like try and get rid of that? So that's the question here. So going through this, we got Fernando Gonzalez. He's got a minimum fee release clause of $65 million. Now, that is more than 4 times his current value. We're already paying him a ton of money. We just signed him. So my thought is we let it ride. Like if somebody comes along for a guy we paid $20.5 million and offers us 60, whatever it was, 65 million. Right now, I'd go, I mean, I guess we'll go look for another. We'll just not play with fullbacks. That's probably what I would. We'll go 3-4-1-2. I've thought about it. Not gonna lie. But would you do something with him? Andre Tinoco. Wait a minute. That's the guy you loaned out. Sure is. Interesting situation. We loaned into Porto on a regular starter contract, and he got 3 appearances in the league. Now, they did have a League Cup thing that he got 4 starts and a sub, but he wasn't really getting enough minutes. Like, they kind of used him at the beginning, and then they stopped using him. And the manager was like, you can recall him if you want. And he really wanted to be recalled, and so we recalled him. That's not great, because it's like, I didn't want him to just sit there and not develop and not play, but I also don't need another center back right now. I just don't. So, and he doesn't want to go out on loan because he just came back. Because I tried. Because Porto came back in, they're like, we'll pay all of his wages and give you a little bit of extra coin every month. It was like $6,000, but like it's more than we've gotten for most of our loans, so I was going to take it. But we'll do squad player, and I was going to be okay with that because at least there's like a commitment to playing him some of the time, and he turned down the contract, so he's not interested in leaving. He has a minimum fee release clause for foreign clubs of 27.5 million. Again, that's pretty way up there. We just got him. Obviously, for right now, it doesn't make sense. I just don't know what to do with him now that he's here, unfortunately. Lucas Kriz doesn't have anything like that. He's going to continue to get minutes for us. I'm really happy with this guy. Look at this. 11 starts and a substitute appearance on a 7-1-3 in the league. And he's 18. And he's already fairly professional. Future captain, leadership, and teamwork of 16 and 17. Hello. Al Louise, my friends, doesn't have a release clause. He's worth 7 million. We've had offers of like 8 or 9, and I have been so close to taking them. I have not yet taken obviously a transfer fee for him. He's wanted by Sheffield United, maybe, but then a Chinese Super League club and AZ. Now I don't really want to sell him to AZ. And to be fair, he's like he's not saying like he wants to go. And you'll note he's accepted a demotion to a squad player from an important player. So I kind of go, we'll probably keep him, but maybe in the summer, depending on who we find he goes. Or, who is the guy that we had at Reggio Adace that was either-footed wingback? We eventually sold him because AC Milan was desperate. They needed a homegrown nation player, and they gave us like 20 million for him. His name is escaping me, but I think if you watch that series, you know who I'm talking about. Does he end up like that guy? Where if he's willing to play squad player minutes, we got 3.5 years. Yeah, 3.5 years. Math. Live math. 3.5 years left on his contract. Does he just become our backup? You know, like rotational option backup player. And we see how his attributes hold up? Not sure. Armel Nagorin, 4.7 million, my friends. 53 million release clause. He was upset at the beginning of the year because over the summer he thought he deserved a raise. He does, but we didn't want to pay it. He's still got 2.5 years left on his contract, and now he's gotten over that. Is it a good idea to give him a raise if we can get rid of this? The only problem is if you go to offer a contract and all of a sudden the agent has put this in as like a requirement. That's my only fear. And it's more than 10 times his current value. So I think right now my gut is not to do anything with him. But now that I almost want to get out of the windows so that no one can come in and buy him if he's unhappy or whatever, and like maybe give him a contract. But he's been here 18 months, right? No. Math. 18 months. Yes. Do we go ahead and extend him? Is he worth extending? I mean, he's given us a 702 this season after a 685 last season. He's obviously getting more games, more starts, all that kind of stuff. I like him as a player, planning on keeping him around. So I guess I just kind of go, well, with 53 million, that's a ways away. So like, as long as we can keep him happy from a not getting a raise thing, then we just like let that ride. Jean-Philippe, we did activate that contract extension, so he's with us for another season to the end of next season. He's worth 11 million. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If somebody came in and offered me 11 million right now for him, I might take it. like maybe in the summer, not right now. We need him this year, but 11 million's a lot for a guy we got on a free, right? Like that's a lot of money. Panya here does not have a release clause. Is I think our highest value player. We'll check it here in a second. 25 million. Kind of needs a raise. He's on 14 and a quarter, but as long as he's happy, he's good for another 3.5 years, people. I mean, look at this production. Look at this. 685 his first season, 714, 11 goals and 4 assists, 722, 7 and 7 goals and assists, 734, 17 goals, 7 assists, and halfway through the season, 17 appearances, 8 goals, 5 assists. Now, he's not gotten the players of the match. I mean, the second half of last season, he owned the league. So, fair play to him. Keeping him around. Barak here, 11 and a quarter. Minimum fee release clause of 59 million. You go, oh, don't worry about that. However, there was a report in the paper that Brighton was willing to put together an offer worth 55 million, which, if you'll notice, is just shy of 59. But do you kind of go, I mean, if they take him, they take him. I mean, he's been fantastic, right? This season, 7.28. Last season, a little bit of a dip. Not as much production. But the season before that, a 7.3 with 10 goals and 10 assists. So he's already matched the assists from his best season with us thus far in half the time this season. But if somebody comes in, there's my neck exercises again, and offers 59 million and just takes him, do you just go like, thanks, and reinvest it? What would you do? You can keep editing your comment or leaving lots of comments if you want here. I'm going to be throwing lots of stuff at you as a member of the audience here. Cassoni, no buyout clause. Reminder, we got him for 4 million, okay? From FC Viitorul. Yes, that magnificent club. No real reason to do anything with him. He's been here 18 months. He's on 8 grand. He's wanted by Anderlecht and AZ, doesn't want to go. They've come in and offered like 13 million for him. Like, he's good. We're giving him minutes. He's got 6 goals and 3 assists this season. Last season, he had 8 goals and 6 assists. He's fantastic. He's 20. The plan is keep him long term. No need to have a buyout clause. Carranza, no buyout clause. Minimum fee release clause. I call it a buyout clause, but minimum fee release clause is really, there's a lot to get out of your mouth when you do that. Currently worth 6 million. We picked him up on a free. We've had offers of like 9 to 13 million, but I'm pretty happy with him. I think I had a comment when I originally found him and someone said, wow, I had him in FM20 and like he turned into a world beater. And I wonder if it's because we're not playing him as an advanced forward, but we're playing him kind of down here towards the bottom of his capabilities as a false 9. But he's done a good job for us, right? He's 10 goals and 5 assists last season, 9 goals and 6 assists this season, half the time. So he's having kind of a bounce back year. Obviously, the previous season he had 20 goals with 3 assists. I don't see any reason to get rid of him. Like, he's not falling apart. He's 25. He's got a long time to go. Like, we could offer him a contract extension, in the summer, since he's been here since, December of 2023. So he's been here 3 years, but he's got whatever that is, 30 months left on his contract. So is there really a need to do anything? Just kind of go, hey, keep going out there. Dominic Bender continues to be upset because now he wants to go to Utrecht. So I'm going to find another, I guess, good backup and maybe sell him in the summer. Unless he calms down again. Like, he wanted to go to Liverpool and now he wants to go to Utrecht. It's like, come on, brother. Like, that's not the same. Olivier's probably, if we keep Alois, probably was a bad buy. But squad player, gives us depth. We paid 2 million. He's worth double that. We're paying a lot in wages. He doesn't expect to play a lot. And when he's played, in all fairness, he's got 2 assists on a 7.24. Okay, we're going to go through the squad here. Aaron Zimmerman, I'm not saying he's the backup, but maybe this is the plan with Alois. So if Alois wants to stay and be kind of I'm slowly fading out of the squad, there's a chance that Aaron Zimmerman here is kind of taking that backup spot, not next season, but maybe the season after that as the right back. But we start integrating him now, bringing him up the senior team, getting him some Dutch Cup appearances, and maybe at the end of the season when we've won the title, clearly we're not clear. But like, Is he the next right back? He's got the potential, so that's why I feel like we have to give him some game time to help him reach it. He's just 17. We've got time. Born in 2008. Doesn't that make you sick? Lewis Nielsen is an interesting one. No minimum fee release clause. He's kind of fallen off. He's been steady for us, right? Like, there's nothing really wrong with his game. He's given us, since after the first season, over a 7.0 every season. Now, he doesn't have any goals or assists, but he's not like he's a center back, right? Like, I'm not expecting that from him. He's 6'3". I don't mind that height. Solid little defender, but he's now fallen. Okay, Jean-Philippe is the 5th rated one here. I don't exactly want to play Jean-Philippe as a center back, but he's behind the likes of Tinoco, Lucas Cruz, Gila, and Selena. Now, he can also play right back, but he's 5th choice at that. Again, Selena is the best at everything on the back line, so I kind of discount that. So behind Gonzalez and Aloise and Jean-Philippe is Lewis Nielsen. And Aaron Zimmerman is coming up to kind of take his minutes. Do we sell him in the summer? I don't want to sell him right now, but like, I kind of feel bad because I was so up on him, and it's like, he's 22, but it's like a couple seasons ago he was our best potential player, and then as we've like continued to, you know, buy some youngsters or to, you know, to promote from within, he's not as high potential as he once was, and now it's like, well, he's just kind of all right. So if someone will come give us 6, 7, 8, 10 million, do you sell Lewis Nielsen? Pedro Diaz is another one that we didn't sign, but he's only worth 6.75 million. I almost sold him this window. I thought about it. I don't like selling in January, but if someone came in with a good enough offer, I might have considered it. But we paid 8.25. Not my problem. I mean, kind of is my problem, but like, I didn't pay that. But would you sell him in the summer for 7 or 6? Right? Like, he's not really getting that any like significantly better. And do we bring back like a Silas Anderson or something like that to take that spot, or do we find somebody else, or does Steinman take those minutes, right? Because he's got 9 starts and 5 subs this season on a 6.99. Again, not a worldie by any means, but not terrible. And I don't remember there being something that's like, we bought this player, you can never sell him. It's like, we bought him, good luck. So maybe now it's like, he's been here for a little bit, we can get rid of him. Hans Nicolucci Caviglia is another one I've thought about, but I like his versatility. We might have to demote him to a squad player. You know, he's got 13 starts, 2 subs. So I think we can keep him happy enough with, you know, if we're in continental competitions of some sort in the group stage, getting him enough like appearances. He doesn't have a clause or anything like that, so he could still improve. So I think of the two, I'd keep him over Diaz. Horst, my friends, has no clause and is the backup, and I love him because he's kind of like the junior Cassoni, which is saying something because he's 20, but you know what I'm saying. Cassoni's also 20, so it's like, how is he? Anyway, Evan Rautier, I like his versatility. He takes a squad player. Now, he was upset, my friends, because they're not listed anymore. Arsenal came in and offered 6.75 million for him, and I just went, I'm not selling to a Premier League club for that little amount of money. Right? If you want to come get my player currently valued at 6.25 million, you'd got to bring like 15. And then I would have considered it. And then I thought about selling him because there were a couple folks who were scouting, but I want to give him a chance. I want to make you viewers happy that were like, hey, he broke his leg. Like, let's give him an opportunity. So I'm kind of trying to work him in a little bit more here in the second half of the season. But when you look at the potential, is it like, hey, with all of the potential suitors, do we just like list him and go, see what happens? Like, list him at 10. And if some people come in, list him at 12 and see if we can like get a bidding war going on. Lucas Stassen, I think we'll keep around for at least one more season. He's up to 2.9 million value, but we bought him for 3.5. So that's going it's in the right direction because it has been lower than that. It's increasing. We just haven't given him enough game time. So I'm going to try to do that like purposefully in the second half of the season without ruining our season, which is the other thing. He's also young, but the potential has dropped a little bit. He needs minutes. I did try to re-loan until the end of next season Carlos Martinez, and they said they want to use him in the first team, which is unfortunate. Like they said, like, unless you come in with an amazing offer, which I'm like, yeah, I know what that means. Like, I'm not coming in with an amazing offer, but boy, would we look at this: 5 starts, 5 subs, 5 goals, 4 assists, 7-4-3 in league play. Yikes, he looks good. Like, I'd love to, like, what do we just get our transfer budget? I give you 20 million, please. But then he'd expect to play all the time, so it's almost better. Like, can we go find another Carlos Martinez for next season and loan him in? Kishna, my friends, you'll notice. Dun, 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 we finally sold to Akhmat for 1.5 million. It was time. I'm kind of sad because, but like, what makes me happy is he's not had a. If we scroll down here, he's not had a knee injury. There's my neck. I'm keep snoozing that in case you're wondering. It's every 9 minutes apparently, the snooze on an iPhone. Oh, that means I've been recording a while. Sorry, I got a little chuckled there. But he's not had, I mean, he had a hip injury, which was 2 months, but he's not had like a knee injury. He's just not good enough. So it frees up $9,000 a week in wages. We get a little bit of value out of him. Again, if you go back, this is the guy that we got on a free. Yeah. So is what it is. Marigila is still one of our best center backs. No plans to get rid of him. Doesn't have a minimum fee release clause. We can do a contract extension automatically, which I like. So we will definitely enforce that when it gets here, but there's no reason for us to do it now. We can kind of see if we need to do that or if he starts to fall apart. Selena has a 64 million. Now that, he's actually our highest valued one. So I'm a little worried about that. He's been here 18 months. No one's interested right now. But do we wait till we're outside the window and offer him a contract and be like, we would like you to be a star player and stay here forever? Please? Get rid of that clause. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Outside of that, my friends, that's what's going on. Let me show you the loan screen here. Just an overarching, situation here. So we did sign, I gave you the ability to pause last episode, Gustavo Patino, or is it Patino? Colombian. So he's the new Andrade. But I knew we didn't need him right this minute. Okay, so I didn't want him. I didn't want to Lucas Stassen him. I didn't want to sign him and then not play him. So he got 48 appearances with 16 goals and 4 assists with Deportivo Cali in the Colombian First Division. And so we picked him up for 1.9 million. We've then immediately turned around and loaded him to Independiente Medellin. Independiente Medellin, get that out. Yes, currently in 19th. They need some help. He left a team that's in 5th. Probably not the best, but the good news is they're paying essentially his wages, right? Like with maybe a little bit more. No, I mean, it's if it is, it's just a little bit more. I'm not going to do the math live because we know how that works, but I think he's the new Stassen. He's definitely the new Andrade because they're both, I think they're both Colombian. But he's either-footed striker, really good dribbling, needs to work on his passing, but he's 19, just turned 19. Physicals aren't as good. Even if he doesn't work out as like a long-term, right? Like he's got 4-star potential. I do think he's a good investment at the price that we paid, but that's just me. I kind of took a flyer on him. Bafana Maleka has gotten 17 starts and a sub in the Bundesliga for Hannover 96 on a 6.7, which isn't too bad for a 20-year-old, right? Like he's getting regular starter minutes. And, the fact that he's not bossing the Bundesliga when he's coming from the Eredivisie doesn't really surprise me either. So he's developed a little bit. He's still got that 4-star potential. We picked him up for 700 grand. He's only worth right now 1.1 million, but we might loan him one more time. If we do that, though, we're going to have to extend his contract. I'd like to get him maybe one more loan to a Bundesliga side or something like that to really develop him and then bring him back as a deep line playmaker. Or, potentially, he takes over Diaz's minutes as that deep line playmaker. Thoughts? Silas Anderson. Yes, not Andreessen. Anderson, as I mentioned. Again, I'm not saying he's Jean-Philippe level, but he's working on it as a central midfielder. 21 years old. He'll be 22 in the summer window. It's gone okay. He did better, obviously, last season in the Bundesliga 2. than he is doing in the Superliga this season. Both seasons in the Superliga, you've kind of seen the level. He's giving a 6.8 something for both of those clubs, which is okay. And then previously for AC Horsens, he gave a 6.67. That wasn't with us, but he was much younger then. So, I mean, we paid 15.75K for a guy worth $1 million. I think that's a good investment at the very least, but do we bring him back? I'm just trying to figure out who goes back out on loan, who's a sell during the window next summer or this coming summer. Angelo Andrade, we are going to sell. We got him on a free. He hasn't really developed. Partially that's my fault, but then we loaned him to the same club. Okay, literally this guy's doing the same thing that Andrade did. He played a 6.66 this season in our division for Dordrecht. Now Dordrecht's not very good, right? In all fairness, but he's only gotten 4 starts and 5 subs on a 6.76. He hasn't really earned that playing time, hasn't really developed. If we can get $1 million out of him, we've done well. Right, we're paying 1.4K, so like that's, what is that, 60 grand a year? Maybe more. 70 grand a year. So like even with carrying that wage for that amount of time, $1 million or €1 million is still a profit. So he's gonna go. I think we're gonna sell Veldman. I don't think Veldman, he's only got 2.5 star potential to be a good left back in the future at the Eredivisie level. So I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's just not gonna like be that stud left back. And if we can get 2 million, like I always get a little wary. It's like, oh, he's worth 2.4. Is he? Is he really worth 2.4 million? Or is it just 2? Or can we get a sell on, clause or something like that? He's just done okay. Like, to be fair, in the second division in Spain, right, he's on a 7.13. So, like, good for him. But he's not going to be that. So, we're probably going to. So, there's probably at least 3 million between these two players here that we're going to bring in the summer. And then Pavlovic, I'm an idiot. And we reloaned him back to the same club that said that they would use him a lot and then didn't. And then we've done the same thing. And he's only gotten 8 total appearances on a 6.54 in the Croatian first division. Hasn't really developed. I mean, to be fair, they did give him 22 appearances last season, but thus far this season, just the whole 8. And it's worse this season for him than it was last season. Anything we can get out of it. He's got an extra year on his contract, but like I think it's just a cut bait. If we can get any, like 50 grand for him, we're doing okay. So that's what's going on with our loan players, my friends. Rodney Chonaloy here, I do not understand this, has stated his desire to leave multiple times. Because we have people coming in and offering like 300 grand for him in our division. I'm like, I'm not going to sell a youngster that could be worth 500 grand or $1 million in a couple seasons for 250 or 275. They keep coming back. But he's like, I would like to go. And so I said no. And he hasn't like made a fuss about it because he's 18. Well, then I finally kind of got fed up with it. And I transfer listed him at 2.5 million. Like, if you really want to come buy this player, come buy him. And when I went to do that, like on the transfer offer screen, it goes, he doesn't really want to leave the club. Yes, he does. He's been upset. He's told me he wants to leave the club. What are you talking about? Our youth intake preview was all yellow text. It was all bad, so I'm expecting zilch to come through the youth intake this season. Just taking a look at some of the higher potential folks that we have in the youth, right? So we know all these folks. Yeah, there's been clubs that have come in to offer him for like 200 grand. I'm like, no, I kind of think he's just a fast winger that if his technicals don't develop, that value goes away. I am pretty excited about Mohamed Haji because, again, maybe he's a Veldman, or maybe we give him an appearance or two to see what that potential looks like. Yeah, that's everything in the B team. Eichmann is on trial at PSV. We're not doing it. Like, he's sticking around. Like, he just got here. We're not going to sell him. Yeah, that's our youth prospects. But overall, when I look at the plan for the squad, aside from the fact that I feel like we have one too many center backs, because Andre here came back from his loan and doesn't want to go back out on loan, right? We've got, I mean, actual center backs, actual players that play center back that we would play at center back. So Alois and Olivier don't count, okay? You've got Andre, Lucas, okay? Lewis Nielsen, Gila, and Selena. That's 5. I feel like that's one too many. Because we do have, if we got into an injury crisis, Alois could play there. Olivier could play there. Aaron Zimmerman as a youngster could come up and play there. Jean-Philippe could play there. So I feel like that's one too many, but I don't want to disrupt the dynamics and like loan Lucas Kreese out, or loan Lewis Nielsen will not react well as a regular starter to being offered out on loan. Lucas might be okay, but I kind of want to keep those guys around. But long term, I do think we see how Selena develops as a left back. I do have my scouts still looking for a left back. So those of you that think he's a ball playing defender or a central defender that could eventually become a ball playing defender, not a left back at all, there's a chance. We just have to find somebody that can play left back. If we can't, then he's probably going to play there. Gonzalez is our right back for the foreseeable future. We've got center backs sorted. I feel like we got a good squad of midfielders. You know, that's why I would like a backup right winger, like a developmental right winger. You're like, well, didn't you just sell that youngster? Yeah, but he wasn't going to develop to be that level of a player, which is why Ratier might get some more minutes here. And a backup striker, right? So Stassen is okay, but that's why we went and got the other Colombian guy, and we'll sell Andrade. But like, I don't see significant gaps in our game. Now, you could argue, hey, you're playing Alois at left back and he's 3-star. Like, you don't have somebody with higher potential. Well, that's Selena, but fair. Like, we need to continue to develop. Maybe we need do we sell off Bender and go get like a stud starting goalkeeper? Because Nakimia, even though he's our starter, is on a backup contract and doesn't expect to play first team minutes. Like, he's not on a first team contract. So what do we do there? So goalkeeper, backup winger, developmental striker are kind of my things here. I'd like your thoughts on what do we do with the buyout or the minimum fee release clauses that we talked about. And then specifically Pedro Diaz. Those are my questions for you, my friends. I don't have anybody like amazing to show you from a scouting standpoint, but I want to kind of give you an update on the squad, right? And if we go look at the tactics, not that comparison screen, okay? Take a look at our goalkeepers here. They're good. They're good for our level, and we only have 2 of them. That's I'd like to keep them, but I mean, I'm reflex is not so good, to be fair. But like, when you're maxing out 3 of the categories, that seems pretty good to me. From a defensive standpoint, we've improved a lot. Marking still not our forte, but like, once we get there, we can tackle. And we're strong. Midfield, I hate that all these boxes are checked all the time. Midfield, we're good at pretty quality midfield, aside from the tackling. Tackling is not our forte, and that's been like, if Jean-Philippe isn't playing, we don't usually play with a midfielder on defend because we can't really tackle. So that's why I thought, well, maybe we bring back Silas and he starts taking some of those minutes, because that's kind of the career path that he's going down. And then from an attacking standpoint with our strikers, again, not the highest quality. Like, we don't have like 4 players that are 4-star and above, right? Like, so this doesn't really bother me, because the striker role we use is a false 9. I'm good with that, right? So if you add in the midfielders from an attacking standpoint, right, some of those attacking midfielders, or like the advanced playmakers that we have that play in midfield, you see we've improved some things here, right? Really good at long shots. That's why I don't mind that our attacking mids and one of our central midfielders in a 4-2-3-1 are all on attack roles, because they're good at attacking. And then you let Carranza run around and do his thing. If we found like some amazing striker, we might have to consider changing that system and not playing with a shadow striker, more like with an advanced forward or a complete forward with an advanced playmaker behind. But as it is right now, I'm good with that system. My friends. Oh, I guess I could show you this. Yeah. We're only 3 points off, above AZ right now, which is, at one point it was 10. We've turned into Liverpool. Wait a minute. We do have the game in hand, but we do play them in the Dutch Cup, and then like almost immediately after in the league. It's not great. It's a tough start after the winter schedule here. And it seems harsh, because we played through the Champions League. We made it to the next round of the Champions League, and the only points we dropped in a long time were like 2 draws. Now, to be fair, we should have drawn against NEC. Heerenveen, you might argue it's away from home. Fine. But like, this game is gutting. But really, then we would be what? 5 points ahead with a game in hand? So I guess if we win our game in hand, it's 6 points, which is like, wow, like, that's harsh. And then look at this. Oh, Ajax next. AZ in the Dutch Cup 3rd round. Hopefully a reprieve, 4 days later hosting FC Emmen. And then AZ again. NAC Breda still in 5th. Heracles in 15th. And then Inter Milan. And then towards the end of the season here, you can't see this because I'm in the way. We have PSV in 7th. Willem II always gives us a hard time. They're currently in 16th. Feyenoord in 3rd. Heerenveen in 9th. So it's like, if we can, right through here, if we can stay top of the table after the NAC Breda game, I give us a chance. And someone, yes, pointed out, I can't remember if it was in the Discord or in the comments, like, it's no longer a 79-year title drought. You need to update the interest, like the intro to the whole series. I will do that because it's more like 84-year drought. So, details. But my friends, next episode, that's what we're going to show you. We're going to show you Ajax and AZ. Let me know what you think about all the stuff we talked about. I know this is kind of a long episode. I said it was going to be a quick one. I was wrong. I'm always wrong. You should never, if you watch my channel, you don't believe me. It was going to be a short one. Well, obviously you know that when you click on the episode, but like, I should know better. Anyway, hit the like button maybe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.